right, so today is lesson 19, and we're going to be diving into multiplying by 10 now. And so today the Eureka Math lesson is to just focus on the place value chart. And if you remember this from last year, our multiplication chart looks, not our multiplication chart, our place value chart looks something like this, where you have a hundreds column, you have a tens column, and you have a ones column. You guys probably remember that from Miss Bender's class last year. So that's what we're doing, but we're gonna use the place value chart to help us multiply by ones and by tens today, okay? So our objective is we will be able to multiply by multiples of 10 using the place value chart. So multiples of 10, that means more than one, right? Multiples of 10. We will be using ones discs. This is not obviously a disc, this is a square, right? I didn't have it. So I'm using the disc. This is gonna be my disc. So when I say my ones disc, this is what I'm referring to. And my tens disc, okay? So they're not round, but that's okay. We are flexible and we go with the flow. All right, so the first one I'm gonna solve, and I'm actually not gonna use the place value chart to start with. I just wanna kind of warm up and use my discs, my ones discs, and my tens discs to help me solve these problems. And then we'll go into the multiplication, or not the multiplication chart, the place value chart. Keep saying that. Okay, so the first one I'm gonna try solving is 4 times 3 ones. So I know my unit is ones here, okay? I'm not doing tens yet, I'm doing ones, equals blank ones. And I know you guys are so good at multiplying by now. This is probably really easy peasy for you, but we are just going to take it a little bit slower today. 4 times 3 equals blank. So 4 times 3 ones equals how many ones? Also, you can write it as 4 times 3 equals what, right? But I'm gonna use my place value discs to help me solve. So I have how many rows? 4 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I have 3 in each row, right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. One more row. Okay, so we're just warming up here. Okay, so I have 4 rows of 3. I'm using my ones discs to help me solve. So what can we do to solve this? Well, how about we count by threes, right? 3, 6, 9, 12. So I know my answer is what? 12 ones, or just 12. Awesome. Let's use our tens discs now to help us solve. Okay, so now I want to solve multiplying, my unit is now going to be 10 instead of ones. So I have 3 times 2 tens equals how many tens? So I already put my array together. So I have 3 rows of 2 tens, right? I have 3 rows of 2 tens. Each row has 2 tens in it. So now I'm going to count how many I have. Well, how many do I have? 3 times 2 tens. Well, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tens. But what does 6 tens equal? 6 tens doesn't just equal 6, right? No, 6 tens equals what? Well, let's count. 20, 40, 60. It equals 60. Okay, so don't let that trick you. It can be a little tricky, but just remember, 2 tens also equals what? It equals 20. 6 tens also equals 60. Okay, all right. Now we're going to use our place value chart to help us solve. And I'm actually only going to have 2 columns. I'm going to have a ones column, and I'm going to have a tens column. The first one I'm going to solve is 4 times 5 ones equals how many ones? This also can be written as 4 times 5 equals what? Okay, so my units I'm working with are my ones. So I need to get my ones discs. And I have 4 rows of 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I have 5 ones on each row. I hope I have enough ones. 2, 5. Almost done. Oh my goodness. Takes a while to do this, huh? And last one. Okay. Woo, that was a lot. Okay. So now I have 4 rows of 5 ones. My unit I'm doing is ones. I'm not doing tens this time, right? So let's see here. We have 4 rows of 5 ones. So let's count by what? We're going to count by 5s to solve, right? So we have 5, 10, 15, 20. So how many ones do I have? I have 20 ones, which also equals 20 ones equals what? 20. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, right? All right, now let's solve for units of 10 now. For units of 10. So I'm going to do 3 times 3 tens equals how many tens? So we're not doing ones anymore. Now we're doing tens. 3 times how many are 3 tens? We need to change that, right? It's not 3. What is it? 30 equals blank. Okay, so we're doing units of 10. So that means I want to be on this side now. I want to be on the other side. Let me see if you guys can see that. So I have 3, 1 row of 3, 2 rows of 3, 3 rows of 3. There we go. Cool. Okay. Now I can solve, right? So I have 3 tens. I have 6 tens. And I have 9 tens. So how many tens do I have? 9 tens. But now let's change that and we're going to put that into number form. So 9 tens equals what? Well, let's count them. 30, 60, 90. So now I have 90. So 3 times 30 equals 90. Very cool. We're going to learn a trick, an easy trick on how to multiply by tens later on this week. But this is just what the Eureka Math book teaches us today. Okay, now let's give you guys some turns. Let me have you guys get your whiteboards out and you can do the next 2 with me. So pause the video and get your whiteboards out. All right, here is our first one. First, I want you to look at what unit are we using? Are we using the units of tens or are we using units of ones? We're using units of ones, right? Okay, so we know that our problem is not gonna have a we're just gonna be using units of ones. Okay, so we have 2 rows of 5 ones in each row. So they drew it out for us. We have 2 rows of 5. Now we need to solve, okay? So how many ones do we have all together? Well, let's count. Let's skip count by what? 5s or 2s? We're going to skip count by 5s, right? 5, 10. So how many ones do we have all together? We have 10. So 2 times 5 equals 10. Awesome. You're going to do this next one on your own. And let's go ahead and pause the video. Look at your unit. What is your unit? And then see if you get it correct. Okay. Alrighty, let's see if you got it correct. So this is 3 rows, 3 times 6 ones equals how many ones? Well, I'm not doing tens, I'm doing ones, right? So I'm going to count by what to figure out this problem? Let's count by sixes, right? 6, 12, 18. So I have 18 ones. 3 times 6 equals 18. Hopefully you got that correct. Not too bad, right? Once you get the hang of it. Now we're getting into our tens, right? Now we're getting into our tens. So remember, you're probably going to have a 0 at the end of your answer, okay? Not probably, you will have a 0 at the end of your answer. So each of these equals tens, right? Try to solve this one on your own. Hopefully you'll get this correct down here and pause the video. Okay, here we go. So we have 2 times 5 tens equals how many tens? Ooh, well I have 2 rows of 5. So I'm gonna say, okay, I'm gonna count by 5s. 5, 10, right? But these are tens that we're talking about. I have 2 tens, and then I have 10 tens, right? 10 tens, I know that I have 10 tens altogether. What is another way to say 10 tens? What's the number form? It's 100, right? And if I wasn't sure, I could have counted them up. I could have said, okay, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. So 100, 2 times 50 equals 100. And then your last one to do on your own. Pause the video and see if you get this one. All right, so now we have 3 rows of 6 tens. So 3 times 6 tens equals how many tens? And remember, now that we're 6 tens also equals what? 60. So let's see. Let's skip count by 6s to see if we can solve how many tens are there. This first row has 6 tens, and then we have 12 tens, and then we have 18 tens. So I have 18 tens. 18 tens also equals what? Because we're counting by tens, right? It equals 180. Okay, so we just added that 0 at the end because we're talking about tens here. And we could check. We could just count by tens. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, 130, 140, 150, 160, 170, 180. All right, guys, hopefully it's not too bad, right? So you just need to look at the unit. What are you working with? Are you working with ones? Or are you working with tens? If you're working with tens, you know you're always going to have a 0 at the end of your product, okay? Of your answer. So today, you guys are going to do just page 115. We did this very similar to what we did at the beginning of this lesson video. So if you don't remember, you can re-watch this lesson. But we're using place value discs to help us solve. And just make sure you're looking at what unit you're supposed to be doing. Okay, what unit are we doing? And then you're going to complete the charts here. So this one we're working with ones. And this one we're working with tens. So remember, if you're working with tens, you're gonna have a 0 at the end of your product, at the end of your answer. And always, always. And that's it. So you'll do 1, A and B, 2, A, B, C, and D. Have any questions? Make sure you come to the help group.